let's continue from where we left off. So we've looked at addition in exponential notation. We've looked at subtraction in exponential notation. And today we are going to look at multiplication in exponential notation. So as usual, we first of all write down the general formula, okay? And after that, we try to explain it and we solve try examples. So with the general formula, we are going to have something like this. If you have two different exponential notation, let's say we have a multiplied by 10 power m, okay? And then the whole of this is multiplying by, okay, let's say, and we have another one, which is b multiplied by 10 power n, okay? And you are asked to find the product of this. And anytime we talk about product, it simply means you are talking about multiplication. The only way to multiply this is by adding them together or multiplying them together in this format. A multiplied by 10 power m by b multiplied by 10 power n. Now, look at this. Let's do the comparison here. We realize that we have base 10 here and we have base 10 here. We have A here, which is an alphabet. We have B here, which is also an alphabet. So this and this will be together, and this will be what? Together. So this is how we are going to do the multiplication. We multiply the numbers together, which in this case are the alphabets. We multiply them together. And the other hand, we multiply the base 10 also together. Is that okay? So let's try to finalize this. We are going to have A multiplied by B in one bracket. And the whole of this should multiply by what? 10 power m multiplied by 10 power n. Is that okay? And this we learned from the previous chapter or in the integers that when you have two numbers multiplying itself and the base are the same, we should write one of the base and add the powers. Again, we have two numbers multiplying itself, the same number. Here is 10 and here is 10. So the indices, integers, we learned that when we have two numbers like this, okay, under indices, we should write one of the base and add the powers because it is a multiplication. So at the end, we are going to have something like this. A times B will give us what? AB. Then we multiply it by what? One of these, and then we add the powers. So this will be the final answer. AB multiplied by 10 power m plus n. And this will be the final answer. Now, let's try solving an example to use it to explain this as much as possible. So number one, if I have 4, I'm asked to simplify this. 4 multiplied by 10 power 7 and 9 multiplied by 10 power 2. Now, one thing that I want you to put in mind is addition and subtraction are the same. Okay? Addition and subtraction are the same. You can only add or subtract when they have the same power. We can only add or subtract when they have the same power. And if they have different powers, it means you have to change one of them to be equal to the other one. But when it comes to multiplication and division, it doesn't consider the powers. It all needs to be what? Use the law of indices. And the law of indices says that we should always add when it is multiplication. We should subtract when it is division. Now we are doing multiplication, so we'll be adding. Now let's see where we will be adding. So with this, as we said earlier on, we multiply the number by the number and we multiply the base by the base. So this should give us 4 multiplied by 9, okay, multiplied by 10. because we have two of the tens, we write one of them. And because, okay, let me write all of them, and then we simplify that later. 10 power 2, okay, is the same as the original general equation that I wrote earlier on. Now, let's multiply 4 by 9. 4 times 9 should give us 36. Then we multiply that by 10 power 7. Because we have the same base, 10, 10, we have the same base here. This is 10 and this is 10. And it is multiplication. We write one of them and we add the power. So we're going to have 7 plus 2. And at the end, we have 36 times 10 power 9. 36 times 10 power 9. But 36 is more than 9 because exponential notation says that the number should be between 1, it should be greater than or equal to 1, but it should be less than what? 10. It should be less than 10. But we have 36. So what we need to do is we need to convert this. Converting this means we have to move the point. When you have a whole number, any whole number is the same as 0.0. So if I have 10, it's the same as 10.0. Okay? If I have 22, it's the same as 22.0. So now that we have 36, we can also write it as well, 36.0. Is that okay? Now, if you write 36.0 and want to write this in exponential form, it simply means that we have to move the point from this side to this side so that we have 3.6. And in order to do this, we have to write it this way. So we are going to have 3.6. The point was in front of 6. It was here. And now we've moved it backwards to between 3 and 6. Now that the point has moved to the left, if you can still remember, anytime we move the point to the left, it becomes positive. When we move to the right, it becomes negative. So now that we've moved it to the left, it has become what? Positive. So we are going to have 10 exponent 9 plus 1. We move it only one time, okay? So at the end, we write our final answer as 3.6 times 10 power 10. And you know 10 power 10 also, right? So at the end, this should be the final answer for this part. Now let's try to solve more examples, and I guess we can understand from there. So example 2, if I have 3.5 multiplied by 10 power 8 times minus 2 times 10 power 3. Okay, then you are asked to find the product of this. How do we do this? Now, the same way as we did the first one, we are going to use the same method. So first of all, we group tens. Okay, so we are going to have 3.5 multiplied by minus 2. Okay, and this should multiply by 10 power 8 times 10 power 3. Are we okay? Now, 10 power 8 times 10 power 3. So the next thing we have to do is multiply this side first. So multiplying the left side, you're going to get 3.5 times minus 2 will give us minus 7. Then we multiply it by this. We are going to have 10. And because they have the same base, we write 1. And we are going to have 8 plus 3. Plus because it is multiplication here. Is that okay? Now let's write the final answer, which is minus 7 times 10 power 11. And minus 7 falls between the range 1 to 9. It is between 1 to 9. So this can be the final answer. Are we okay? Now let's look at another example. So let's say example 3. Example 3. If I have minus 3 multiplied by 10 power minus 2 and minus 8 multiplied by 10 power minus 5. And I'm asked to find the product of these two numbers. How do I do this? I can solve this by grouping like terms the same way. Minus 3 multiplied by minus 8. Okay, and this should multiply by 10 power minus 2 times 10 power minus 5. Are we okay? Now, minus 3 times minus 8. Do you still remember nege nege? Nege nege is what? Paul. So we are going to have negative multiplying negative. That will give us positive. So 3 times 8 will give us 24. So we have our 24 here. And then we multiply it by the other part. The other part, we have 2 10s, which are the bases. So if we have 2 same base, we write 1. And we write the power minus 2. And because the first base is multiplying the second base, it becomes what? Plus. And then we add the second power, which is minus 5. And at the end, we're going to get 24 multiplied by 10 power minus 2 plus minus 5 will give us what? Minus 2 plus minus 5 should give us what? If you can remember, anytime a negative meets positive, it becomes what? Negative. So we are going to have minus 2 minus 5. And the final answer is what? Minus 7. Right. So our answer here is going to be minus 7 to be the power. But then, this is 24. And 24 is outside the range 1 and 9. Okay, our answer can only be between 1 and 9. And now we are having 24. So what we are going to do is we are going to change 24 to be what? 2.4. As I said earlier on, 24 is the same as 24.0. So to move the point from here to this side, the point will be moved to the left side. And anytime you move to the left, it becomes what? Positive. Now we are going to have 2.4 multiplied by 10 power minus 7. And the point was moved to the left and it becomes positive. So we write our positive. How many times was it moved? It was moved only 1 time. So positive 1. Now our final answer is 2.4 multiplied by 10. 10 power minus 7 plus 1. Minus 7 plus 1 will give us what? Minus 6. So our final answer becomes this. 2.4 times 10 power minus 6. So these are some of examples under multiplication. And you should be able to do any question under this.